electronic capture. The fee that will be associated that goes to sustaining the registry will be, I believe, around $10 per person, although I don't know that that dollar amount has been settled completely in terms of the exact dollar amount. It may be less depending upon the fiscal analysis on sustaining the background check system, and that will be the per person fee. Let me just turn you over to Bob Hamilton, who's our Deputy Director here at the State Office, Department of Early Learning. There's a question here about WAKIS.
I saw some interest in the WAKIS participation. We had a number of providers participate with kindergarten teachers this year. So there's two ways next fall to become involved with WAKIS. One of them is that we are setting up joint training sessions where kindergarten teachers and providers will be at the same site receiving the same kinds of training for how do we prepare kids for kindergarten transitions. The second way to become involved is a number of our providers are taking part in 7, I think, remote sites that have providers and kindergarten teachers meeting together to talk about how they can help each other in exchanging information and preparing kids for the transition. So if you'd like to email me at bob.hamilton@bel.wa.gov, I'd be more than glad to tell you if your district is participating. Right now we have 79 districts participating next fall, and we have about 14,000 of our incoming kindergartners next year who will be participating. So I certainly would be glad to connect with your district in a way that would be helpful.
Next question is from Sharon Clark. This is Bob McClellan, again, at the Department of Early Learning. The question is, will I need to pay the $45 background check registry fee given that Sharon has been licensed for 20-plus years? And the answer is yes. The statute passed by the legislature and signed by the governor does require every license holder to pay the $45 registry fee. Next question is from Lisa, and I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. I'm not sure how I would pronounce it, Lisa. We have a dual license, 2 providers. Is the fingerprint fee per person? In terms of the registry fee, I think I've said here repeatedly, the registry fee is just tied to the child care license. If you're talking about having a dual license such as foster care, you'll still have to meet the foster care requirements, but the bill that moved through the legislature that I mentioned earlier that allowed background check sharing allows DSHS and DEL to share the fingerprint check when it comes in because it's handled in the same system. So that will be something that that other licensing agency will be looking to leverage, or DEL will be looking to leverage. Jolene asked a question around the economics of the times in terms of whether or not the size of DEL was impacted in these economic times, and the answer to that is yes. There have been a number of positions at DEL that have gone unfilled, and in the prior legislative session, we made a number of hard layoffs of personnel. And so, yes, the answer is that the staff cuts have occurred, much like the rest of state government as well as private industry around the state.
We have another question from Nancy Johnson. Thank you for having an easy name to pronounce. We certainly haven't, most of our participation with Under WAKIBS has been with family homes. And so what we tried to do is establish relationships between the providers and the kindergarten teachers. A number of providers took part in the actual transition meeting in some of our districts, where the parents asked that the provider, who's been with many of the children for a number of years, has extensive information on the children and is certainly the right person to be helping the kindergarten teacher receive them. So family homes are participants and centers, but the predominance of participation was with family homes.
A question from Sarah Bouquet, and this is Bob McClellan again. How long will the background check last each person? And the answer to that is 3 years. The same as it has been if an individual stays employed with child care through the 3-year renewal cycle. Next question, just more clarification around that $45 fee being per center, not per person, from Rebecca Lee. And the answer to that question is yes, it's per license and not per person. And we're filtering through here, folks, and thanks for being patient. Filtering through and kind of grouping some of the same questions. And it seems like there is still a fair amount of confusion around the portable background check registry. So let me just go back over what the timeline is and what the fee requirement is. The portable background check registry, beginning July 1st of this year, DEL is going to start work on building a module in the MERIT system, which is the Professional Development Registry, and it will be a place for the portable background checks to reside. Part of the process involved in House Bill 1903 involved having a $45 one-time fee for each person who holds a child care license. This is just for the person or corporate entity that holds that license. So if you have an individual license in your name or in a company name, then you will be receiving an invoice towards the end of July, early August, and it will be a one-time fee for the establishment of the portable background check registry. In terms of the costs for the employee or family members, that is a fee that will be set here in the future. It's not going to be a requirement for them to be in that registry until starting in July of 2012, with everyone required to be in the registry not later than July 1st of 2013. And the fees will be clearly published out, and there's always the potential between now and then that something could change. Fees can both go up and go down based on costs of processing, both from the corporate entity that does the electronic fingerprint capture as well as the State Patrol. Okay, the next question from Lois Martin is, for centers in good standing whose license may have expired, but the license has, or the licensor has been unable to visit their site and they are under a temporary license, where will they fall in the non-expiring licensing process? If you hold a full license now, regardless of the expiration date, as of July 22nd, which is the effective date of the law, your license will become a non-expiring license. And the licensor will, as they get out to your site, they will be addressing the monitoring visit that they will do and the checklist. And at the end of the process, as long as you have your fees paid and you meet the other 3 requirements around declarations and background checks, you'll be issued a non-expiring license, so you'll have a new license to hang up on the wall. Okay, so the next question is from Lori Hope, or a comment from Lori, which was that Lori felt that the webinar was a good connection for providers to Dell, and thanking DEL for reaching out and clarifying the legislative updates for providers and answering questions. Thank you, Lori. We appreciate the comment, and we've enjoyed doing this. This is the first foray for us in really using the webinar technology in a larger setting, particularly around updating you on things that are happening around the legislative session and some of the activities here at Dell.
Okay, so we're coming in on 7:30. We're going to wrap it up. There were a couple questions we didn't get to. Some were maybe on topics not necessarily intended to be covered during this webinar, but for those that we didn't get to, we'll try to put together a Q&A document and post it. Reminder also that we're recording this, and we will post a recording on the provider section of our website in the coming days. I'm not going to say a specific day because I don't want to make any promises, but soon. I just want to thank you all for joining us, and we thank you for the work you do every day with children to help those kids that you care for get ready for success in school and life. We know it's a big job, and we very much appreciate the work you do. I think we're on the last slide now, where there are some ways for you to stay connected with us. And, you know, we assume that if you logged on for this webinar, you're fairly connected. But we just want to remind you, we have our website. We have a blog that we update every couple days with new information, some things about childcare, some things about other early learning information that you should know about as part of the early learning system in Washington State. We have a Facebook page for those of you who are into Facebook, and we do have a listserv. And you can find links to all of those tools on the homepage of our website. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you have any feedback on this webinar, you will be getting an email following this. But you're always welcome to email us at communications@del.law.gov with your input, suggestions, and follow-up. So thank you so much, and have a great night.